I've also been listening to a little bit of Gordo. Big up Gordo. Big up Blood Clot Gordo. Not too sure if you know much about Gordo. I'd say he's primarily a house producer, house DJ, but obviously he's kind of dabbled his toes in the hip hop field, and he's done some great things in that sort of genre. But primarily his bread and butter would probably be house music. And I have to be honest, I'm usually a big hater of tech house. I'm usually a big hater of EDM, but I have to be honest, tech house and EDM are probably way more diverse in their sound. Diverse in representation, aka they give niggas a shot. I don't think a nigga like Gordo, with the way he acts and goes on and chills and presents himself, would be this welcomed or have this platform that he does have in tech house. I think that's why I like tech house, because at least the man them get an opportunity to make uts music their way for their crowd. Yes, it's full of, you know, a certain type of people that a lot of people don't really like to see, the chavies and whatever maybe else you like to call them to be, or lads. I don't know what else you'd like to kind of describe them as. But I like tech house because it gives niggas an opportunity to get involved in electronic music or dance music specifically. And I think in this type of field, Gordo doesn't really have an equal. This is really, really good, sophisticated, groovy, and very high quality tech house. It doesn't exist across the board. I swear to God, it doesn't exist across the board. But I have to be honest, this album is really, really good. And the funny thing about it is that a lot of the hype around Gordo and this particular album has been about the Drake track, because this is coming off the Drake and Kendrick beef, and everyone wants to hear what he has to say and shit. And then he kind of goes off and makes this big hit called Sideways. That's track 2 on this actual album itself. And everyone's thinking, oh my God, Kendrick beat up Drake so much. Now he's making house music, which is obviously dumb because Drake has always made house music. But it's actually really fucking good. And what it does remind you about, what it actually does remind you is that even though Drake did suffer a bit of an L because of the Kendrick beef, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. Because what Drake does really well, people are always going to flock to it. What Kendrick does really well, people are always going to flock to it. They're just the top of the top food chain artists who had to kind of, you know, have a bit of light sparring. They engaged in some combat and they went back to their regular scheduled broadcasting. But I don't think it was ever going to be what the Kendrick fans hoped or what some Drake fans hoped. I don't think it was ever going to be a beef that would end each other's career, because I think when I listened to the album, I listened to a particular track, I was like, you know what? This is why this guy's still around. This is why this guy's still relevant. This is why this guy's still popping. This is why he breaks all these records and streaming numbers and blah, blah, blah. Because no one can do what fucking Drake does. Then you're reminded when you listen to Kendrick releases, I forgot the exact track that he went at Big Sean. You're like, rah, Ted. No one does what Kendrick does better than him either. So these guys are so necessary for culture, are so necessary for music, that despite what happened, despite who you think won or lost, they're still fucking thriving doing what they're doing, and they haven't missed a beat since. And that shows you how high level they are. Even though I think a regular artist could probably never show their face again if they lost the way that Drake did maybe in a particular battle. I think he could just dust himself off and keep it moving, throw some subs here and there, and go about his merry way. But the funny thing is about the album, that Drake track isn't even the best track on there. I don't think so. If you're a lover of tech house, if you're a lover of uts, if you're a lover of house, if you're a lover of groovy shit, you have to say one of the best tracks on this fucking album follow each other back to back. And that's track 11 and track 12. Track 11 is Hombres y Mujeres, featuring Gordo and its rapper called Feed. And then track 12 is Kill for This Shit, which features vocals from Young Dolph, R.I.P. And I swear to God, those two tracks are so fucking hard. Especially Hombres y Mujeres. She likes hombres y mujeres. You have to check it out. So hard. And Young Dolph on Kill for This Shit, the lyrics, no one does hip-hop edits, hip-hop remixes, hip-hop mashups better than tech house people. I've always wondered, and I think I might have to try out my hand at producing and dabbling in trying to make tracks, because I would love to include some vocals of, you know, I don't know, Destroy Lonely, Playboy Carti, Baby Keem, I don't know, whoever I like to fucking listen to, Ian, Little Yachty, whoever, right? Tyler the Creator. I'd love to include some of their fucking vocals here and there on some great fucking legendary techno records, but no one really does that. It only really happens in the house, tech house sort of field, because there they don't mind vocals. In techno or whatever reason, they don't really like vocals. They like edits and cheesy pop edits and shit. That's okay, but they don't like rapping and all sort of thing. Maybe because it takes them out of the moment. Maybe because they hate niggers. I don't really fucking know. But the only genre that does the mashup and that edit remix of hip hop shit really well is fucking the tech house community, and Gordo smashed it on Hombres y Mujeres and Kill for this shit. So fucking groovy, so bouncy, amazing tracks. I really recommend you check it out. And also a last kind of like throwaway one that I thought was also really good was What Do You Mean featuring Carolina Falk. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I think Healing, the other track with Drake, which is the last track of the album, I actually think Healing is better than Sideways. Unpopular opinion, but I think Healing is actually better than Sideways. So I recommend you check it out. Gordo is an amazing, amazing producer. Not too sure about him DJing, even though, that being said, I think he's performing at Coco in Camden this weekend, sometime soon. If I'm not mistaken, part of his world tour thing. If I can get some tickets for that, I might actually go and pop in and see Wagwan. Now they've got my lock and it's all really good. I might have to go there and cycle and see what happens and Wagwan, how he kind of DJs and shit. I'd love to see what his style is and what he fucking does, and that'd be kind of good. But apart from that, recommend you check it out. Gordo, Diamante, album out, available on all digital streaming platforms. Don't delay. It's absolutely banging. Great house music. Great house music in my humble opinion. But again, what do I know?
Presidente como en 2000.